Okay, what's up? Welcome to the Katie Black Show. I'm honored today I have with me.
My name is Patrick Nurthen, and I'm a police detective in the state of New Jersey.
Yay! Fun fact, I know Pat from college, from back in the day.
Yeah, the good old days.
Oh my God. And so I always ask just how did you find out about Lynn?
So the cool thing about Lynn is, originally I didn't go to college right after high school. I worked for a few years, and I was like one of those people that thought I was going to make millions just by being me and not having any education, and found out pretty quick that that wasn't going to happen. And I was just at a friend's house, and it was basically almost like a bet. Like, Pat, you should go to college, not, and one of the guys at the house went to Lynn and had graduated from Lynn. And he was like, I guarantee if you applied to this school, they'd probably let you in. And I'm like one of those people that's just like, if you bet me or challenge me to do something, I will do it. And like the next day, looked it up, applied, and like a few months later, they called me, said that I was accepted, and like the rest is history. And it ended up being like the best decision of my life, and it was just off of like sitting on a friend's couch, which is
That is crazy. And it's crazy that I never knew that.
not many people did. I mean, it's obviously I was different. I was a little bit older than all of you when I was there, but everyone just kind of accepted me and didn't care how it was that I got there. Just were happy that I was there and was in their friend group.
That is so cool. Been a few years, a few years, I don't know, several years, whatever.
And like it's been more than a few, but it's what's good is like anytime the connections you had at Lynn. So like we haven't seen each other in a long time, and now here we are, just like ready to go, talking it up like it's nothing. So,
and that is the cool thing, not to like praise and brag, but that is the cool thing about like all those kids is like you said, it's like that friendship where it's like it doesn't matter how much time has gone by, but it's like no time has passed pretty much.
And it's cool because Lynn is like it's like our own little fraternity, because the school is small. So anybody you see is like you have some connection with them because they knew about the school. Most people don't. If I say to people here that I went to Lynn University, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
So, but like if you see somebody, it's like you share that connection, the little small college that we all went to.
And same. And you know what I've started doing recently? I'm like the only like claim to fame is that we had the presidential debate.
We had the presidential debate.
Which
that's pretty much it. And then the fact that I saw Dan Marino taking his daughter on a tour one day. That was pretty much.
That is so funny. You know what's so funny about him is like he's like the one athlete that like for some reason him and Dennis Rodman I saw several times while I was down there. But
wow. Okay. I never saw Dennis. That would have been pretty cool.
But
I saw The Rock. I got to actually meet The Rock.
Was he nice?
He was not. He was not nice. And it was depressing because it was like I loved watching wrestling as a kid, and so I was with Max, and we went to a Miami football game, and The Rock was doing like the announcement for like the people, the players, and everything. And I walked right up to him, and he just kind of like walked right past me, and I was like, "Wow!" This is like my first lesson of some people are different on TV than they are in person. It's just sad. It's still pretty cool to see in person up close.
That's unfortunately I've kind of heard that as well, but enough with pop culture because I could talk about that all day. So season 9 is my first really themed season where it's talking to first responders, and obviously one of those categories is law enforcement. And so you being in law enforcement, how did you decide to go that direction?
So this goes back to like the Lynn story too. I was when I went to Lynn, I majored in criminal justice, but I had no interest in being a police officer when I was there, and I had wanted to work for the government. That was always a dream, kind of to be like maybe a special agent or criminal investigator, something like that. And there was a professor at Lynn named Professor Kirker. I don't know if you remember her. She's known, like if you were in criminal justice, she's known. She's won like Professor of the Year there and everything. So she's she's very good. But anyway, in one of her classes, she required that we take a ride along with a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to take a ride along with the police officer, and it was like crazy hours. It was like, 10 o'clock at night to like 4 in the morning. And it was a Boynton Beach police officer. And I mean, we had from the moment I sat in his seat until 4, and it felt like the entire shift flew by. We had so much fun. He let me get out on like every call, anything that he went to. And I had like a blast. And I remember coming back to school the next day and telling Professor Kirker, like, I want to be a cop now. Like, that just changed like my whole thing. I don't want to, go down that road. I mean, when I graduated, I still did apply to federal jobs and whatnot, but I was also applying to be a police officer because literally that one ride along changed it for me. And just seeing how it was, you were never tied to like a desk and you're in the car and all night you're meeting people. You're meeting people that need your help. You're meeting like people that maybe had a little too much to drink. You're meeting people that are fighting with their spouse, and like everyone's looking to that one person to like make their life better or make their decision, or like that's one of the craziest things about being a police officer is like the world is in your hands. Like whatever's going on that night, it's up to you to make the decision. And that decision could alter people's lives. It's crazy, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And when I came home, I was like, this is what I want to do, and that's how it kind of all happened. And
that's so cool. Wow. I'm just like marinating, as I say. So many angles, but I guess and this is like a random. Before I get into like your day to day. Once you are a police officer and once you start at a department, do you stay at that department till retirement? Is it like not cool if you bounce around? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
It's kind of like up to you what you want to do. I mean, so the way I started was I had to kind of leave. It was like New Jersey does like a thing where you can start off as like a seasonal police officer. And that's what I did. I started down in like South Jersey and like one of these boardwalk towns that has like, the population increases in the summer, so they hire seasonal police officers. And what they do is like they pay for all your training. They send you to the academy. They pay for the academy, but at like once the fall comes back, they don't have a space for you, and so they kind of have to like lay you off. But what they also do is they help you find a job. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and they helped me find my first full-time job, which was in like a neighboring police department, and everything went well there, but it was just so small, and I really wanted to go to a bigger place, like a city type department that had, everything going on, and I eventually left there. So technically I've been with three police departments, and it has been frowned upon on me, but yes, it's like if you are, I don't know, I guess it could go both ways. I mean, if you've been with someone for a while, yeah, it could be looked upon as bad because you're going to like leave them kind of empty-handed. They'll be short-handed. They're gonna have to hire someone else, train someone else. But at the same time, I like to leave that up to the officer because it's like you got to be happy because you're going to be doing this job for in New Jersey. It's like between 20 and 30 years you're going to be doing the job before you're eligible to retire. You have to be happy. So it's it's really up to you. If you have dreams of being like a canine officer and the department you're at is never going to do that, then you got to follow that dream. Or if you have dreams of being like a diver, but you work in a department where there's no lakes or oceans or anything, like you got to switch it up. So it just comes down to the officer. Yeah, I would say some people are probably upset if you leave, but it's a revolving door either way. You're going to retire eventually, and they're going to have to fill your spot at some point anytime. So.
Very interesting. And you mentioned like canine. So I've always associated, and because fun fact, my grandfather was a police officer, and he always had a police dog with him. So in my mind,
lucky ones.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. So like as a kid, I just assumed police officers had dogs. So
it's technically like it's a very coveted position. Like if you get that, it's probably like the most wanted job of any police officer in America, but it's very rare. There's so much insurance and liability and finances that go into having a police dog, that people are just, a lot of departments don't want to deal with the liability. A lot of departments don't want to spend the funds. I mean, you think about it, that department's responsible for the dog's vet bills, food, bathing, shots, for probably, what's a dog's life, 12 to 16 years, so they retire canine dogs usually earlier, but so departments would rather just, so like how it works here is like the county agencies have the money to do that, and they'll have a dog. So like if my agency needs one, we'll just call the county and say, bring the county dog here. They'd rather do that because we can still use that dog to our disposal, but at the same time we're not paying for it. We're not paying for the stuff. We're not caring for the dog. We don't have to house the dog, all that stuff. So it's not as much as you would think. And it also depends on the states. Like in Florida, I'm sure, I would imagine every department in Florida probably has one, or at least every big department in Florida has one, because it's just the southern like areas like Florida, or like even not so much the southern, but like big states, Florida, California, and New York, they have the resources and the money to do that. Gotcha. Whereas like little departments and littler states, it's just, we don't have the resources, and we're just not as advanced yet, to have stuff like that.
Oh, I know I'm trying to like narrow it down because I have like so many questions I want to ask. But again, trying to get into your vantage point of like what you experience and the people that you work with you experience. Like, do you kind of just always have to be like, I guess I always feel like maybe police officers think that not only are you protecting the area that you're looking out for, but like you have to protect yourself and the other officer that you might be with. Is that fair? Like, is that the mindset?
Yes, it's absolutely fair. And what we always say, I mean, there's people that you are going to work with that you do not like, you may even hate, but at any second you would do anything to save them or protect them or help them. And that is true. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter who's calling for help on the radio. Like, you just go and you're there for them. So yeah, you are always looking out for yourself, but you're looking out for your people too. But your main priority is the public, because that's the definition of a police officer, is a public servant. That's who you're, always looking out for, is the public. If we're going to put our life on the line, it's going to be for the public before it's before ourselves. And it's crazy. But also, police officers kind of like are prepared, not so much at work. Well, they're definitely prepared at work, but also when they're off from work. I mean, you have a requirement as a police officer to take action if you see something happening off duty. And it could be anything from like if you see an accident on the road to getting out and make sure the people are okay. If someone's choking, you give them the Heimlich maneuver. Or if it's 2 a.m. and you were craving something at the convenience store, and you're sitting there and someone that comes in and robs it, you have to take action to make sure that nothing happens to the store clerk, nothing, and some police officers usually are not required, but have the ability to carry their guns off duty. Mm-hmm. What that means is, so when you're out on your days off and you're going to church with your family, or you're going to a sporting event, or you're going to the grocery store, like I was saying tonight, and you have your gun on you, then you have to take action, if a situation like that presented itself.
And so essentially, and maybe do you feel like, I don't know if you had this feeling before, but do you feel like you're more like intuitive, I don't know is the word, where you like maybe are better at reading like body language and you can see things spiral or whatever before they happen? How do you explain that? Absolutely.
It's just from being put into so many dangerous positions and experiences. Mm-hmm. You pick up this like sixth sense, and it's something that all cops have. You just kind of like know when something could be going bad, or something maybe going bad. There's been times where I've been out with my friends and like, I kind of just like see something going on and I drift off because I can just like sense something's about to go down, and everyone is having fun and having a blast, and like I'm focused on a person or something that I'm seeing, and it's just like this thing that goes off in your head. Wow, there's something's about to go down. Mm-hmm. But also it works in both ways. Like I was also out with someone once, and they saw someone come in, and obviously they were like being probably prejudiced or whatever, because they were just like, judging the person. And I kind of just shut it down immediately. I'm like, this guy's just sitting here watching the game. Like it was based on how the person was dressed, how they looked, their appearance, everything. And I was like, I just could tell from the person's body language, their demeanor, everything. This person was just coming in, grabbing something to eat, and watching like a football game. And so it works. It does work both ways. We can almost sense when everything's fine, and we can also sense when something's about to go down. And like when if you ever hang out with a police officer or know any, you could kind of pick up on it, and you'll start to see things. Now that I tell you, like any restaurant I go to, I have to be sitting somewhere where I can see the door.
Where your back's not to the door, yeah.
My back's to the wall, and I can see who's coming in, who's leaving, little things like that. And you'll pick it up, and like, I always tell my friends, I'm like, he is, because it's just like it's something that I would be doing. And anytime I go to like if I go to like the movie theater, or if I go out to dinner, or if I go to church or something, that you almost like come up with a little action plan in your head as to if something goes down, what am I doing? Where am I going? What door am I gonna put people through? Or so it's a little bit crazy to think that that's going on in your head 24/7. But this is the career we signed up for, mm-hmm. and it is what it is. If it's not going to be us, who else is going to do it, right? So, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's it's cool to me because obviously I don't. You're not a police officer in my area, but it's nice to know that that's what's going on. And this is a question that my mother had. So, okay. Mom, she wants to know, because there is so much social media, there are so many people interacting now, and these neighborhood apps. Do citizens, like, are they starting to like intervene instead of actually helping out? Like, are they kind of like blocking? You know what I'm trying to say? Instead of back in the day, you'd have a citizen call and say, hey, I'm reporting this. Instead, they might be blowing up the social media or the email, and then they're actually too involved, I guess is what I'm getting at. Is that true?
That happens on and off.
Okay.
Because, we like to incorporate the public, because the public helps a big deal. When we're looking for someone or looking for something, they help tremendously, because we only were one person or one unit or one department, and we can't be everywhere. We had a missing person case recently where we were looking for a guy for like almost like 3 days, and we tried everything. We enlisted all the county people to help and everything, and it ended up being like a tip we got from someone who had seen our Instagram page and everything, knew we were looking for someone, and noticed what they thought was someone like in their backyard, kind of like sleeping in their backyard. And it was, this was an elderly disabled person that had no idea that they were lost and everything. And so they were technically like sleeping in someone's backyard. And the public was able to help us out with that. And we were able to save that person's life because the public paid attention to our social media and took it and passed it around and talked to people. So it can work for that, but it can also work negatively, where people will call too much. They'll see, or the people will see an event that happened in the news, and they're like, well, now we got to call about everything. And, our philosophy is just call no matter what. I mean, you're paying us to drive around the town all night, so call. And if we go and it's nothing, it's no big deal. I mean, and if we go and it's something, then it's great. It works out. Mm-hmm. But like I said, we're being paid to protect, serve, and no matter what, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're out there. So I just always encourage people to call, no matter how dumb it sounds or crazy it sounds, because at the end of the day, all it is just gas. We're just driving the car over there, and if it's nothing, okay, we go back and to the next call, or we go back to doing traffic enforcement or whatever. But the social media, it's a gift and a curse. I always say it does helps get the word out there, but also, people that aren't going to care aren't going to care, type of thing. We talk about, I work for a very big department, and it's in a very big area, and the Instagram page is not followed by as many people as you would like it to be. So most people don't have social media. Maybe most people don't even know we have a page, or it just could be that people just don't care. But I think it's a good thing. It helps. Like when we're having like car burglaries, we post on there, hey, lock your doors, get cameras, and then next thing you know, we're going out to these calls and everyone's locking the doors. Everyone's getting cameras. And, we always say, because the camera not only protects like you, but it protects like your neighbor. Mm-hmm. It may catch, if there's a shooting or something, your doorbell camera may have picked up just a car or a license plate or something. So, we always encourage stuff like that too for the public.
I understand. Like I said, I'm trying to get all my questions in line before this thing cuts me off. But definitely curious from obviously your perspective. The year, I guess, 2020 to 2023, like really heightened here in the USA. And some people, I guess first, what was that like from your vantage point? And then the second end is like, is that still going on? Because, for me being like just a private citizen, I'm assuming everything's kind of like chilled out now. Just whatever you want to say concerning that.
So 2020 was crazy. Working through COVID, that was very interesting. Everyone was like worried because, people were getting laid off or furloughed, and we thought we were pretty safe because you just need police, obviously. But there was the question, like, do we have to take the vaccine? Are we going to be allowed to work if we don't take the vaccine? That was a huge thing. Thankfully, that never became a major issue. If you wanted it, you could get it, and if you didn't, they were okay. Because literally, being a police officer is just such a needed career. Mm-hmm. We cannot not have our cops on the street. Mm-hmm. So it was like. We tried many things. We did like these furlough schedules where we were anticipating if people would get sick, that they would have enough time to get better before they'd come back to work. So we were doing like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off type of thing. And we did that for a while. But it was just, there was like I remember back then, there was no like definitive science on like what we could do, what we can do. So like we were masked up and we were gloved up, but we were going on our calls as normal and like getting to people's houses, and their first person's like, I feel sick. We'd be there at the medics, and the medics like, yeah, they got COVID. And so then we were getting constantly tested to make sure. I've still never had COVID in my life, knock on wood. Somehow, and I think that's crazy because I was around so many people during that time frame that had it and never. It was so, but so that was definitely difficult. But then it just like any other thing that's happened in my career, just kind of like went through its phase, and then we became back to normal. The masks came off, the gloves came off. We were just back to our normal patrols. We went back to our normal schedule, and it became okay. And then other stuff that's happened in those years, it's, I remember people kind of always ask me like, well, how is it being a police officer with this thing that happened in the media? And I'm like, the best answer I can say is it's never different. I mean, it's we have a tough job, and every day we go out and we meet people that do not like us. So it could be like the calmest in the world right now, and you're gonna meet people that don't like it, or it could be an event that happened in the media where now everyone's like protesting against police. It doesn't really change for us because every day we're going to meet people that like us. We're going to meet people that don't like us. It doesn't change how we look at the job. It doesn't change how we're going to treat people. It doesn't change what the mission is. So it was definitely rough. I mean, obviously, but like you just don't think about it. When you're working, all you're thinking about is, okay, I got to handle my calls, make sure you help people out, then you go home. And that's the best thing about, at least the way my department does, is we get changed at work. So like when you're in uniform, like you're a cop, and that's all you're thinking about. Nothing else matters. What matters is like I protect and serve. I'm here for the people. I got to make sure I do everything that I have to do to make sure everyone's safe.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I go to the locker room. I take that uniform off. I am no longer a cop. I'm back to Pat, and I'm just looking forward to going home, hanging with my dog, going out with my friends, going to see my family, and then don't even think about work, talk about work, nothing. I surround myself with the majority of my friends are not police officers. I like to hear other things, talk about other things. So that's like the best philosophy I've always given to like the rookies that I've trained is don't get changed at home, get changed at work, because you really like leave it in the locker, and you don't have to worry about it till the next day. So
Very cool to hear. Yeah, because it's just like drown out the noise. Like I'm gonna do what very cool.
yeah, it's basically it. I mean, you put that uniform on, and you're that person. You're still yourself, but like it's a very you have to be honored by wearing that and take credit and like do the job that you were hired to do. And then once you're off, go back to doing whatever you like, being yourself, and don't have to worry about anything. You just kind of leave it at work, and that's the best philosophy that I've been able to live with, because a lot of people take their work home with them. And as a cop, if you take your work home with you, it can be very dangerous.
It's a tough ride, yeah.
Yes, it can be very dangerous to you. So it's just, you don't want to do that.
Great mindset. What are like 5 tips that you feel like, the general public should know, or any fun facts? Anything you want to say about that?
So what I will say is, I always tell my friends this and my family this. When you get pulled over by the police, try to do it just like it told you to do in driver's ed. Keep your seatbelt on. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Yes. I always say if you have the ability to roll all the windows down, roll all the windows down.
Mm-hmm.
So this way the officer is not like walking up and doesn't have anything to be worried about. Your windows are down. There's no one hiding in the back seat with a gun. There's no drugs in the car. Like the officer is already at ease. And as they're walking up, they're like, this person was definitely trained to do this right, because nobody does that. And the other thing is, don't have your documents waiting. Let the officer ask you for documents, and then go in the glove compartment and get them. If you do this, I always say there's like a 90% chance you're not getting a ticket, because you've put the officer at ease. One of the scariest things of being a police officer is walking up to a car, especially at night. You can't see anything. You don't know what's in that car waiting for you. When a driver keeps your hands on the steering wheel, doesn't move, rolls all the windows down, you're automatically telling the officer, I don't have anything wrong. I'm not doing anything illegal, and I just want to work with you and get the traffic stop, done. So the officer takes that into consideration. And I've told my friends this, and they have said that every time they pull over, the officer is like immediately like, who told you to do this? Whoever told you to do this told you to do the right thing. So I always say that. So
that's great.
That's a good tip. I would say tip number 2, just if you ever see a police officer working a sporting event or just in your town, maybe just go up and thank them. You don't have to be like
gushy about it.
Don't be gushy about it or make it look like it's a public stunt or anything. Just an honest thank you. When I first started my career,
Mm-hmm.
that happened all the time, and it like never happens anymore. So it's it used to happen so much that we'd hate it, because we'd be like at an intersection and driving in our car, and someone would literally like be like, someone would cause like a traffic jam just to let the police officer go, because they want it to be like, oh hey, nice. And now it's like you'll see a cop at an intersection, cars are just going by. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to let them in. Nobody says thank you. So it's like, and it doesn't change our mission. We're still going to protect you whether you hate us or not. But it just does like so much for officer's psyche. If you just walk up and say thank you, thanks for your service, it does like numbers for them. Like you'll make like their whole week.
Oh, so, that's great to hear. I'll start doing that, because I don't do that.
Yeah. Tip 3 would be like find ways to like volunteer, do stuff. That's something I learned at Lynn. Like my senior year, I went on like a volunteer trip, and like that has always stuck with me. And like I try to like outside of work, one of the things I do is I like coach youth sports. I coach like my niece's soccer team, and I coach like some other just like youth sports, and just connect with kids and like kind of like pass something on. That's the biggest part of it to me, is like pass something on, so that like maybe when they grow up, like, well, I learned how to do this from that nice coach, or I learned how to do this from that officer. It's not something I just do outside of work. I try to volunteer as a police officer with the youth and the community too. And like I said, it's just like kind of like that passing something on, and so I would say that's good. Let's see here. You hear my mom trying to
a little bit. I can't hear her though.
She was like trying to chime in on what you think, what you're trying to tell. I guess maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know.
No. I love an audience member.
Tips for the public, Mom. She goes, you should be saying tips for the public. I said the traffic stop. That's a tip for the public, and thank a police officer. That's a tip for the public.
How about this is again, remember I told you on the phone my fixation of watching old unsolved mysteries and rescues and all of that stuff. What do you do? And again, this has never happened to me. If it looks like you're getting pulled over, but you're questioning if that's an actual police officer.
So what you can do, just safely, like call 911.
Yeah.
Don't be like holding your phone while you're driving 65 and calling 911. Use like Bluetooth if you have it, and just say, "Hey, I'm being pulled over, but I don't know if it's a real cop car. I don't know if it's a real police officer. It's not. It doesn't have any identifying marks on it. Can you just confirm?" And what they would do is, if it's real, that dispatcher will literally just say, "Who's trying to pull someone over?" And I'm on this and that, and it's confirmed. It's just like done like that. Don't try to be speed racer and like elude and take off, because if that is a real cop, you're going to be charged with 10 times more things for doing that. Some people, I understand if you got to protect yourself, but just stay driving normal speed. If they're not trying to run you off the road, just call 911 and say, "I'm being stopped. I don't know if it's real. Can you please confirm?" They will confirm it. You won't be in any further trouble, and the officer will stop you. If it's not confirmed, they will get an officer out there to help.
Okay.
So it works both ways.
That's like I said, that's just a random thing.
But it's good because it does happen. Thankfully it's not as prevalent, but it does. We hear about people impersonating police officers a lot, and it's so easy to get lights off the internet and throw them on your car, and so. It's good. It's a good question to ask, and that's the best. That's not like a textbook answer, but that's the best answer I can say, because police officers, the most important tool we have is our radio. So it's how we connect with our dispatch. It's how we connect with each other. So if that's a real police officer trying to pull you over and you call dispatch, they're going to be able to confirm via radio and let you know that it's legit.
Wow. Okay. Well, here towards the end of the interview, I always circle to like pop culture and nostalgia, and was just wondering, growing up, did you have a favorite artist, a favorite band that you loved?
Growing up, as an adult, my favorite musical group is Rufus Du Sol. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're amazing. I'm going to see them in July. They're like my absolute probably favorite band of my entire life. But growing up, did I have like a favorite artist, or what else?
Yeah, band, or just like, or even favorite movie.
So my favorite movie growing up was Braveheart, and it's still my favorite movie to this day. If I still watch it, I've probably seen it over 100 times. It still gives me chills. And it won Best Picture, I think, in 1997. So that's for good reason. It's just the acting, the history. Still on my bucket list is to go to like the museum in Scotland for the person that the movie's based off of. So that is definitely a favorite movie. And I'm trying to think.
No pressure. I just always think it's a fun little thing to.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing.
Any like final words, or how about any advice if someone is listening or watching that is curious about going into law enforcement?
Yeah, I just say go to college first. It helps. Plus, it's going to be a requirement soon to have that. And just speak to people. Even if you just go to your local police department and say, "I'm interested in being a police officer. Can someone tell me more?" They will love that.
Mhm.
They'll come out. They'll speak to you. They'll give you all the advice you need. That really wasn't around when I was starting out, and I kind of had to find a way like that, like I did with that seasonal thing. But I would say research online. Everything's online now. You can even apply. There's a website called policeapp.com, and that's you go on policeapp.com. You can literally apply for a job as a police officer like you would apply to the college app they do
Oh,
now.
wow.
It's very simple. And you can see like that wasn't around. I would have to go and drive to each police department and say, hey, hiring. Now it's just all on this policeapp.com, and it shows not just New Jersey, it shows Florida, and it shows everywhere, all over the United States, who's hiring. And if you decide you meet the qualifications, you can do the whole entire application right there.
Very cool.
On the police app. So that's what I would recommend. And just speaking to someone,
Someone who's there, yeah. All right, Pat. Well, that's it. What'd you think?
I think that was pretty cool. It was my first ever podcast experience, and I really want to say thank you for thinking of me. I'm sure you could have asked any police officer in the entire world, and you asked me, so I really appreciate that.
Oh my God, I had to. And fun fact, you're my first episode for the season.
That's great.
So
I feel honored. I think it's a great thing for police, and I think it's a great thing for Lynn University. So.
Oh yes. Well, like I said, thank you, and thank you for all you do, and thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, Katie. It's great seeing you. Thank you.
You too. I'll be in touch. Okay.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.